Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir Sahasanaman and you're watching Cbse with Sudhir. Unit 2 of Class 8 English textbook Poorvi, that is, this particular textbook is called Values and Dispositions. We will be doing the first chapter on Major Somnath Sharma from this particular unit. Okay, so it is called A Tale of Valor, Major Somnath Sharma and the Battle of Badgam. That's what this particular story is. But before I start, I want to tell you, because it would make sense for you to invest in a question bank right at the beginning of the academic year. And this is what I am suggesting. The English 8, Class 8 Poorvi workbook from Oswald Books is what I suggest. What is good about this is that it has an exhaustive section on grammar, which is going to be extremely useful with lots and lots of exercises for you to practice. So this is going to be extremely useful. In fact, I would say the grammar portion is almost 87 pages. Initially the reading skills, which is about 34 pages, and from the 36th page is entirely, 35th page is entirely till the 87th page is entirely grammar. Very useful. All the chapters are done here with notes, with practice test papers, 2 of them, and all the questions which are answered. So this book is what I would strongly recommend that you buy. The link is in the description box for you to buy it on Amazon. In case you buy it on oswaldbooks.com, please remember to use the coupon code, my coupon code, which is the author coupon code, because I have written 2 books. So therefore, I get an author coupon code, Sudhir10, so that you get additional discount. So let's get started with the story of the Battle of Badgam and Major Somnath Sharma. These are some of the exercises that you need to do. But as I always say, these are not the kind of questions that you will get in your examinations. But anyway, these are more for your discussion as to what are the highlights of the Republic Day parade, what do you think about it, and which bravery awards, the gallantry awards which are given, which would be the Paramveer Chakra, the Mahavir Chakra, the Veer Chakra. They're all given to soldiers who laid down their lives or did something exemplary for the nation on the battlefield, right? So you can discuss all these things. This is a photograph of the Republic Day parade from Kartavya Path on the 26th of January every year. So let's get started with this particular story, which is about Major Somnath Sharma, who was awarded the Paramveer Chakra for what he did in 1947. He belonged to the Kumaon Crescent. Every time I miss the pen, sorry. So, and he died at a very young age. Just look at his age. He was born in 1923. He died in 1947 in the line of duty, which means he was just, 24 years old. What an age to die. How tragic. Now, so this particular chapter is a tribute to the valiant. Valiant means extremely courageous, brave Major Somnath Sharma, India's first recipient of the Paramveer Chakra. So the Paramveer Chakra's first recipient, he was the first person posthumously, because he died, to receive the Paramveer Chakra, which is the highest gallantry award given to a soldier. And therefore, his name is etched. Etched means it is permanently fixed, even in 2025, right? More than 75 years later, 78 years later, we remember his name. His bravery and sacrifice stand as a beacon of inspiration. Beacon means a source of inspiration, a source of motivation for generations at every intersection of patriotism, whether it is through the National War Memorial, about which you studied in class 6 in the new textbooks of Poorvi, or the soul-stirring patriotic songs, books, and stories recounting acts of valor. Valor, as I said, means courage. Or the celebrations of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, his memory is honored. So Major Somnath Sharma, therefore, is an exemplary figure, right? His legacy means what he has left behind us. We still talk about what he did in the Battle of Badgam. Of courage and devotion to the nation remains forever alive, reminding us of the ultimate price paid for our freedom. Now, what really happened? Now, I'm sure after having read the first paragraph, you are a little curious as to what really happened in the Battle of Badgam. Now, this is this entire incident took place in Kashmir Valley in 1947, just months after India became independent. In fact, just 2 months after India became independent. Just to tell you a brief background, when India became independent, the British, rather cleverly, what they left behind was a combination of certain areas which were ruled by the British, but there were lots of princely states which were ruled by rulers, right? Kings, or Nizam of Hyderabad, or the king of Kashmir, or the ruler in Junagadh in modern day Gujarat. And they told them that it is your desire whether you want to remain independent, whether you want to join India, or whether you want to join Pakistan. So the British played mischief. They left it to the princes, the kings. So the kings thought, why I will remain independent? Why should I join either country now? That would have meant India would have looked a very different kind of country. Just imagine Hyderabad, the entire modern day Telangana, parts of Maharashtra, parts of Karnataka. If it was not part of India, it would be a big hole in the middle of India, or Junagadh, or Kashmir right at the top of India, right? Where Maharaja Hari Singh was ruling. So the serene means very peaceful, beautiful Kashmir Valley in the shadows of the majestic Himalayas, it witnessed a tale of extraordinary heroism, right? Of heroism, what Major Somnath Sharma did, right? You can see the scenery out here. He did a sacrifice to protect the integrity of the Indian borders. Integrity means if the British had made that this is going to be the borders of India. So to ensure that the borders were not changed by the enemies, he made a huge sacrifice. This happened with it started in November, right? But ended with echoes of courage that served as an inspiration for generations to come. Okay. Now, this is the story of Major Somnath Sharma and the brave men that he led on a mission to protect the Srinagar airport. So the aim, the intention of the enemy forces from Pakistan was to capture the Srinagar airfield, the Srinagar airport. And what they did cleverly was they sent in what were called the invaders. The Pakistan army sent in people who were going to completely take over and defeat the forces. That was the intention. So the guerrilla forces is basically what? Guerrilla force is something which I taught in history also, is basically a unit which takes you by surprise. It attacks the enemy by surprise and then immediately moves out before the enemy can, gather their weapons and attack. So that was the kind of style of attack which was undertaken, which were trained by the Pakistan army. So Pakistanis sent these guerrilla warfare people into Kashmir, 90 of them. 90 men from Indian army. They managed to foil the plan of 500 infiltrators. What is infiltrators? Infiltrators unfortunately happens even today. Infiltrate is mean when you are crossing the border illegally to come into another territory, obviously without a passport, without a visa, right? So you manage to come from Pakistan to India. The problem of terrorism that still arises, that you cross the border illegally and enter India, right? So about 500 of them, they came with the intention to capture Srinagar and thereby the Kashmir Valley, because if you capture Srinagar airport, that means there is no entry point into Srinagar and the Kashmir Valley. And that would have meant a big blow to India, which had just become independent on the 15th of August. So Pakistan, right from 1947, had these designs that they wanted to take Kashmir, which had been given to India as part of the partition agreement. Is this clear? Now, the events that led to the Battle of Badgam, they started in August 1947, immediately after India became independent, India and Pakistan, because Pakistan launched something called Operation Gulmar. What was the intention of Operation Gulmar? Please note this down because you will get this as a question in your question paper. The intention of Operation Gulmar was to annex. Annex means take possession forcibly. Annex does not mean, somebody is giving to you willingly. No. Annex means china, to capture, to take away forcibly the Kashmir Valley. So Operation Gulmar's intention was to capture or annex the Kashmir Valley. And this was in violation of the existing agreement with Maharaja Hari Singh, who was the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, who had committed Pakistan not to attack the state, right? So the Pakistan was not to attack Kashmir because Maharaja Hari Singh had an agreement and Pakistan violated that agreement, right? So, however, instead of honoring the commitment, the Pakistani army, what they did very quickly, they trained and equipped about 1,000 invaders who possess deep knowledge of the mountain passes, because Kashmir is full of mountains and valleys. So they trained about 1,000 invaders who knew exactly the geography of the Kashmir Valley and the mountains of the Himalayas, and thereby they could use that local knowledge of the terrain. Terrain means the topography, the geography, to enter Kashmir and take control of strategic locations, including the Srinagar airport. So that was the big plan as part of Operation Gulmar. Okay, let me show you some illustrations which I have prepared so that you get an idea. On the left hand side, you see these people, right, who are kind of taking on the Indian army. I mean, they would be dressed in military fatigues, etc. Right? And on top, you see Maharaja Hari Singh, who had signed this particular agreement, but the the Pakistanis, you can see the Pakistani things on their thing, and they have all entered the valley. Right? On the left hand side is the Indian army, which will take them on in the Battle of Badgam. So this is just to give you an idea about the geography and the topography of that area. Right? Now, yeah, the left hand side is the Indian army, the right hand side is the Pakistani invaders. The ultimate goal of their plan was to engineer a revolt in Kashmir, that, they make it seem as though people of Kashmir do not want to be part of India. Instead, they would be wanting to be part of Pakistan. That's what they wanted to convey to the world. Overthrow the government and capture the territory. If they had succeeded, if these Pakistani invaders had succeeded, it would have allowed them to control strategic mountain passes, peaks, and rivers. So all the rivers flowing through Kashmir, all the mountain peaks, the valleys, everything they would have managed to control. So it was very important to ensure that this did not happen. Please remember that this was still under the control of Maharaja Hari Singh. It was not technically part of India till then, right? Because he was dilly-dallying. He wanted to be independent, just like the Nizam of Hyderabad. On 22nd October, Operation Gulmar was launched, and these infiltrators invaded Kashmir, which led to the princely state becoming a part of India, because Maharaja Hari Singh sent an urgent SOS, that I am in danger, to Pandit Nehru, who was the Prime Minister, and Sardar Patel, who was the Home Minister, saying that please save me. And that's when the Indian army was sent into Kashmir to ensure that Pakistan did not overrun Kashmir. So that is the history of the thing, that people believe that it should ideally be part of India. Pakistan contested it. It was an independent kingdom, and they wanted to force Maharaja Hari Singh into becoming part of Pakistan. But Maharaja Hari Singh preferred to be part of India, and that's when he appealed for help. Then, in response to this invasion, the government of India sent its troops to defend the people of Kashmir and India's borders on the 27th of October 1947. That is about 70 days after India became independent. A contingent of troops posted to Jammu and Kashmir was airlifted into Srinagar, because there were people, army which was there, because Punjab, etc., was all obviously part of India. So a contingent of troops was posted to Jammu and Kashmir. Was sent to Srinagar, because the land road through Pathankot was not in good condition. Let me show you some more illustrations, very interesting illustrations. Now, this is what you see. These are the Pakistani invaders who are coming in. They have seen all the maps, etc. They have been trained by the army people from Pakistan, and they have all entered India, right? And that's when it happened that the troops were airlifted into the Kashmir Valley, into Srinagar, because the roads were not in good condition, in order to ensure that they reach there as soon as possible. Now, on the 31st of October, the D Company of the 4th Battalion of the Kumaon Regiment. Now, these are all parts of the Indian Army. So this particular part, D Company of the 4th Battalion of the Kumaon Regiment. So regiment is bigger than the battalion, is bigger than the company. So company, battalion, regiment. So you can remember it's as CBR, because sometimes these army terms can get a little confusing. Regiment is bigger than battalion, battalion is bigger than company, right? So the D Company of the 4th Battalion of the Kumaon Regiment. Kumaon is more to do with the Uttarakhand area, under the command of Major Somnath Sharma. He was the one who was leading that particular company. It was also flown into Srinagar. Okay. At that time, Major Somnath Sharma's left hand was in plaster, right? So he was injured. But despite that, he said that there is no way I am not going to be part of this particular operation. I have to be there. So he went there to, 1 minute. Sending a message. So he went there to lead his men on the battlefield in Srinagar. So he said, if my company, the D company, is going to be involved on the battlefield, and that also such an important battle, there is no way I will not be there to lead them. So I have to be there on the ground. So that shows again the character, the kind of personality this 24-year-old major had, right? He knew that his mission would be very challenging, very difficult. And he told his senior officers, I know my men better than anyone else because I am the one who is leading them, right? So I know what they are capable of. And if they are going into action, they are not going in without me. So I will be there on the ground, on the field in order to lead them. And these words highlighted his commitment to his men and his country. So this is again an extremely important paragraph. Now, before their arrival in Srinagar, there had been unfounded rumors. Unfounded means unsubstantiated, means, rumors which are not based on facts, afai fell rahi hai, which are not really true, of tribal movement towards the village of Badgam, that many tribals were moving towards Badgam village, which is about 5 kilometers from Srinagar airport. So therefore, in terms of location, the Badgam village was extremely critical because it was just 5 kilometers from Srinagar. But even more important than that was the fact that it was at a higher altitude. Srinagar airport was like this, Badgam airport was like this. So if people were managing to control Badgam airport, from there you could fire at the people, at the Indian Army personnel who were at Srinagar airport. So the airport would become vulnerable, or if there are any flights landing or taking off, if they start shooting at them, that would make it very, very dangerous situation. Let me show you an illustration to make it more clear to you. For example, this one, so this Badgam village, okay, the Badgam village is actually at a height, right? It is at an altitude. This is the Srinagar airport. So the distance between this and this is only 5 kilometers, right? But what is even more risky is because of the topography, that it is at an altitude compared to the Srinagar airport. So any flights which are taking off from this runway that you see out here, this black strip, anybody firing from here would make it very dangerous for them, right? So that was really the situation. So hence it was important for Indian forces to retain control of the area, that is Badgam village, in order to protect the Indian troops and facilitate supplies coming via air, arriving via air, that any planes coming, they should not be at any kind of risk. In reality, but what had really happened was that the enemy, the Pakistani invaders, had started arriving in Badgam in small groups to avoid detection. On the 3rd of November, detection means so that nobody could discover them. On the 3rd of November 1947, several companies, including Major Somnath Sharma's D company, were sent to patrol. Patrol means, you just go and inspect the area, whether it is really true or whether there are any Pakistani invaders out there, and assess emerging threats in and around the Badgam village. Throughout the day, the valley was eerily silent. Eerily means it is a very strange, because where you expect activity, if that place is completely silent, you would feel, what is wrong? Why can't I see any people out there? Why am I not hearing any sounds, noise? It is something strange, as though something is happening which I am not seeing, but the silence is telling a story. The silence itself is telling a story. So around afternoon, the companies were ordered to return one by one. That is, there seems to be some kind of danger which you can sense because of the very eerie silence. We don't know what it is. So let's come back, because we don't want you to get trapped in any way. So every company was asked to return to the base. B company had 90 soldiers, and that was the last one to return. And they were expected to return by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, I hope you have understood. I hope you're feeling interested in the story also. When the enemy which is the tribal invaders, the guerrilla invaders, under the command of the Pakistani army. So just see what kind of tactics the Pakistanis had adopted at that time. They saw that only this small group, D Company, is left. Only a small group of Indian soldiers were left behind in Badgam. The others had already left. They decided to attack them. That this is the best opportunity. We can actually target many of these soldiers of the D Company of the Kumaon regiment. When they attacked, Major Somnath Sharma and his men returned fire. They did not say, Ake Mardo. No, they returned fire. So there was a lot of exchange of fire. So the eerie silence was correct, which means these guys were there hiding, waiting for an opportunity to target when most of the companies would have left. Only the last companies left, then attack these 90 men. However, Major Somnath correctly visualized that the first attack was only a distraction. And if you see a lot of these kind of OTTs, etc., you would get an idea about what I'm talking about. I do see a lot of them. Because the first attack is a distraction. Because if it is coming from this side, you would assume that everyone is that side. So everyone will focus on that side. And that's when somebody will come from the other three sides and attack you from the back. Now, that is the kind of tactics many of these guerrilla invaders employ. So shortly thereafter, and Major Somnath Sharma sensed that something is wrong. This is a distraction. They're trying to distract us to focus only on one direction, whereas the actual threat may be coming from the other direction. Shortly thereafter, a major threat came from the other side. So what I told you precisely happened. By then, Major Somnath Sharma and his 90 soldiers were facing about 500 invaders. So it is 90 against 500 people. 90 against 500 people. What did the Pakistani invaders want to do? They wanted to capture the Srinagar airfield, the airport, and the surrounding areas, right? Badgam village at an altitude already seemed to be in their control. It was clear to Major Somnath Sharma that defending Srinagar town, the airport, and the wider valley was very difficult until you got more Indian army personnel coming in. Then you can take them on. Otherwise, 90 against 500 would become extremely difficult. So he assessed the situation. He thought, okay, this is the situation we have. And he, on the radio, walkie-talkie, he asked for air strikes. That is, the Indian Air Force should come and strike. Okay. He bravely laid out the ground panels to guide the aircraft. So he laid out on the ground panels so that the aircraft could see which location is being referred to. Otherwise, you cannot know which area to actually target. But if you get some kind, like for example, if you have ever, you may not have, when you travel in an helicopter, what happens is that you do not know where exactly to land. So what they do is that just before the helicopter is going to land, they light a fire. And the smoke rises up in the air. So the pilot of the helicopter will see, oh, that's where the smoke is coming from. That's where the helipad has been made, and he will go and land there. Similarly, what here Major Somnath Sharma did was to lay out what were called the ground panels, which is a technical term, in order to guide the aircraft towards a target, to say that this is where you need to strike. So the aircraft, the Indian Air Force, the brave pilots, they managed to hit the tribal invaders, but they still outnumbered the company by almost 7-1. Though the Air Force managed to kill some of the tribal invaders, even then they were more than the Indian soldiers by almost 7-1. That is, for every one Indian soldier, there were 7 invaders, right? So the ratio was in the favor of the Pakistani tribal invaders. The attack on the positions occupied by Major Somnath's men continued. So they continued to attack Major Somnath Sharma's men. Vastly outnumbered and facing devastating fire. Devastating means very dangerous, which could actually kill them, right? And they were outnumbered. As I said, it's 1:7. Major Somnath Sharma and his men stood resolute. Resolute means determined that come what may, we are not going to leave this place till we get killed. We are going to keep resisting these tribal invaders, right? The air was thick with the sound of gunfire. Air was thick is an idiom. It's like what you call muhavra in Hindi, right? The air was thick with gunfire, sound of gunfire. Means you could just hear shum, 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 that kind of thing from all sides. and the cries of battle, people getting killed and they're shouting everything. But Major Somnath Sharma's voice cut through the chaos, urging his men to fight with tenacity and valor. Now, tenacity, I suppose, would be a new word for you, just like resolute was. Tenacity is determination. Okay, resolute, tenacity, both means determination and courage, right? So he was shouting orders to his men saying that you need to do this, move that side, move left, move right, fire, take guard, give cover, everything, all the terms that are used in army. Despite heavy casualties and his own injuries, Major Somnath Sharma displayed unparalleled bravery. Unparalleled means unmatched, not shown by anyone else, which is why he was the first recipient of the Paramveer Chakra. He moved fearlessly through the battlefield, directing fire, filling magazines. Magazines is the containers which hold the cartridges which has to be filled into the gun. Then the bullets will be in the magazine, and the magazine will have the cartridge, will be basically to have the bullets to be fired from the weapon for his gunner. So he was doing all that work also, because remember, his left hand was not okay, and he was encouraging his men to hold their ground, that come what may, under no circumstances will we give up till more reinforcements come into Badgam. So you can see this. I shall not withdraw an inch, but I will fight to the last man and the last round. The last round is the last round of cartridges that he would have. Last man is till the time the last Indian soldier is alive and has a gun in his hand, we will fight. We will not go back an inch. That was his determination. That was his tenacity. However, as the battle progressed, D Company began running out of ammunition. That is, the cartridges, the bullets started getting over, right? And when Major Somnath Sharma informed brigade headquarters about this on the walkie-talkie, he was asked to pull back. That is, you move back, leave the space, save your life. It's okay, but you save your life because you don't have anything to fight with. He was aware of the gravity of the situation. Gravity means the seriousness of the situation. He understood that the situation was very serious, because without bullets, you are a sitting duck. Any Pakistani invader could come and kill you. He responded with the words. He said, the enemy is only 50 yards from us. We are heavily outnumbered. They are many more in number. We are very few. And now we do not have enough cartridges left also. We are under devastating fire, right? There is so much of firing happening at us. We are not able to retort. I shall not withdraw an inch, but I will fight to the last man and the last round of ammunition that I have. Okay. Just a few minutes later, when he was crouched, means he was sitting in a trench, with his knees bent in a trench next to a machine gun operator in order to help him load his gun. So he was doing all the helping to his soldiers who were junior to him, even though he was the leader. But since his left arm was not okay, he was helping all his soldiers. His position was held by a mortar shell. It's almost like a bomb kind of grenade being thrown, and that killed Major Sharma instantly on the spot. You realize how difficult war is. It's very easy for people to say, "Jaake battle mein maar do" and all that. But this is what really happens on the ground. I'm not saying that you should not teach Pakistan a lesson or any enemy a lesson. But always remember, there is also a human cost to pay for everything. That's why terrorism is terrible. What Pakistan is doing to India is terrible. And we need to ensure that Pakistan is taught a lesson so that it doesn't do all these things again. Despite losing their major, that is Major Sharma, and faced with the overwhelming numerical superiority, that is, the enemy, the Pakistani invaders are many more in comparison to the Indian soldiers, who were only 90, and many of them had started getting killed. The heroic actions of late Major Somnath Sharma motivated his men to hold on to their position for over 6 more hours before being overrun by the enemy, before each one of them was killed by the enemy. So for 6 hours more, with limited ammunition, they still managed to fight the enemy. Their brave resistance provided time, and that much time was enough for reinforcements to arrive from Srinagar, from different parts of Jammu and Kashmir, from Punjab into Srinagar. And the heroic deeds of Major Somnath and his men thoroughly demotivated the enemy, that the enemy thought, what bravery, that they are not leaving, fighting to the last man and the last bullet, right? causing more than 300 casualties, including injuring their leaders. So they lost a lot of their men in the battle that was fought between the Indian army reinforcements and the Pakistani invaders. In many significant ways, D Company's sacrifice, ultimate sacrifice, and Major Somnath Sharma's leadership saved Srinagar for India. If he was not there that day, Srinagar may have been lost to India. So please always realize what really happens on the ground, which can do this. Major Hari Singh sending that SOS urgent message to Delhi, Delhi sending the Indian troop, sending someone like Somnath Sharma who insisted on going, and then he and his regiment holding out the Pakistani invaders, giving more time to the Indian reinforcements to arrive. The 4 Kumaon Battalion was awarded the Battle Honour Srinagar. Major Somnath laid down his life for the nation at the young age of 24, and for this act of conspicuous, it's noticeable. You can make out that what a brave man. Major Somnath Sharma was awarded the Paramveer Chakra, which is called the PVC. His citation reflects his heroism, patriotism, and courage. He was the first recipient of the Paramveer Chakra, awarded posthumously, means after his death. It would have been given to his parents for gallantry and supreme sacrifice. Now, this is Major Somnath Sharma, and this is what the citation said, that on landing at Srinagar, in fact, it is, I think it's written. Okay, this is the citation. So this is the original citation, the way it has been written. The date and place of action was the 3rd of November 1947. Please remember this. It happened in Badgam village, and this has been signed by the Lieutenant Colonel. And it says Major Sharma's leadership and personal courage, and by sacrificing his life by moving from post to post under heavy mortar and automatic fire, he was responsible for his company, COI's company, holding against an overwhelming majority of enemy for nearly 4 hours and inflicting over 300 casualties on the enemy. Not only this, even after his death, his personal example of heroic enthusiasm this is the Paramveer Chakra, made the company to fight for an hour and only withdrew in an orderly fashion when ordered by the reinforcement commander when the reinforcements arrived. But for this officer's bravery and sacrifice of his own life, it is most probable that the Srinagar airfield would have been overrun by the enemy and jeopardized the whole Kashmir operation. Because if you could not land in Srinagar, just imagine how would you be able to control the Kashmir Valley. So that's why it is extremely important what Major Somnath Sharma did on the 3rd of November 1947. Okay. This has been signed by Lieutenant Colonel Commander of the 4 Kumaon Regiment, M. Khanna. We have delved into how the events of 3rd November 1947 played out. It's also worth knowing more about the early life of Major Sharma and the events that led him do this thing. So, it's very interesting to know even about his background. He was born on the 31st of January 1923 in Kangra in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, he belonged to a military family. Legacy means life experiences, the fact that his father, grandfather passing on from generation to generation. So that's what is referred to in one word as legacy. His father, Major General Amarnath Sharma, also was part of the army, and young Somnath was deeply inspired by the Mahabharat stories which were told to him by his grandfather. So he initially studied at the Sherwood College in Nainital, very famous college. His rigorous training at the Royal Military College in Sandhurst. And Major Somnath Sharma's life was a testament. A testament means evidence, proof to discipline, extremely dedicated. And he joined the 8th Battalion of the 19th Hyderabad Regiment in 1942, when India had not yet become independent. So he joined the Indian Army, the 19th Hyderabad Regiment in 1942, and he served during the World War II. The Second World War, obviously, we will be fighting on behalf of Britain in Burma, okay, in Myanmar, in today's Myanmar, then called Burma. And then also he was kind of being recognized for his bravery. Dispatches means official reports on military affairs. The army sends regular dispatches. However, it was during the Indo-Pakistan War of 47-48 in the Battle of Badgam that the legacy of Major Somnath Sharma was truly forged, means it was kind of established. So the life and sacrifice of Major Sharma embody the highest ideals of duty, honor, and patriotism. He has been a source of inspiration for soldiers and citizens alike, Most importantly, his story is a reminder of the sacrifices made by the countless men and women in defense of the motherland and highlights a profound sense of duty that inspired them. So this is why the story is so important. This is the Paramveer Chakra. This is Major Somnath Sharma. Paramveer Chakra 1923 to 1947, issued by the Army Postal Service. This is the citation which details what really happened on the 3rd of November in the village of Badgam. What has already been explained in the story, that's what exactly is mentioned in the citation. So please go through the citation to just, I mean, this is issued by the army, right? This is issued by the army, the Ministry of Defense, about Major Somnath Sharma as to why he is being given the Paramveer Chakra, right? In the quiet of the Kashmir Valley, where the echoes of the D Company's battle with the infiltrators, as I told you, people who come from outside illegally, have long since faded, the story of Major Somnath Sharma remains a beacon of courage and sacrifice. Beacons means it's like a lamp, okay, a light of courage and sacrifice. It shows us a light to everyone. His valor, that is his bravery, ensured that the tricolor, the Indian flag, will continue to fly over Srinagar. Otherwise, that day, the Pakistanis could have taken over Srinagar. And his name is forever etched in the golden pages of India's military history. The life and legacy of Major Sharma stands at a poignant. Poignant means emotional, right? It's very sad what happened. He should not have died at such a young age, but it's extremely emotional as well. It is a reminder of the price of freedom, that this is the price of the lives of so many soldiers that we have to pay so that we are free, so that we can do what we want, because there are these soldiers who are fighting these extremely difficult battles, getting killed in the line of duty. Will continue to inspire. His story, marked by selflessness and bravery, will continue to inspire and guide generations to come, because you in the class 8 are now reading about this story, ensuring that his sacrifice is never to be forgotten. And his name is there in the honor wall at the National War Memorial, which is near India Gate in Delhi. This is where it is, IC 521, Major Somnath Sharma, 4 Kumaon Regiment. So this is how all these people are people who laid down their lives in the line of duty. And this is the honor wall with the names of bravehearts at the National War Memorial. And these are the medals of honor. This is where you see the Paramveer Chakra written out here, right? And this is where the symbol of the government of India. This is the medal of honor. Okay, so let's salute this braveheart by singing the Vande Mataram. Sujalam Sufalam Malaya Jashitalam Satya Shamala Mataram Vande Vande Mataram 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 Jai Hind. Okay, so the story was an inspiration. You understood the story. You would be able to tackle any questions that come from here, understand the details of what happened during that particular battle of Badgam. Why was Badgam so critical? What makes it important in relation to what happened with Srinagar airport? What was the evil intention of the Pakistani army? All these kind of questions can come, which I'm very confident you would be able to answer. Okay, Tata, bye-bye. Thank you very much. I'll do this explanation video in Hindi as well in a few days. Till then, thank you very much. Tata, bye-bye. Share the video with your classmates and your juniors next year, and definitely subscribe to the channel.